Hi, good morning. My name is Robert Turl and I'm the founder of mycareercoach.com. Today I am joined by Phil Jones.
Hello, good morning.
Phil is an interim manager, and the purpose of Phil joining me today is really just to help me give you some examples as to how you might answer the question, tell me about yourself. The question, tell me about yourself, is one in which candidates often are going to come across at interview, and it's one in which you could quite easily make some serious mistakes. So we're going to give you some tips and give you some examples today as to how you can answer that question. So you may be asked at interview the question, tell me about yourself. Sometimes this might be put in a different way, perhaps talk me through your CV. Regardless of how this question might be phrased, it's a dangerous one. In fact, it's a really dangerous one. The reason why it's dangerous is because a lot of people answer the question by actually giving a life story. And that's something you need to be careful of, because if you give a life story and you give too much detail, the danger is that before you know it, 30 minutes will have gone by and you'll be running out of time. At an interview, obviously you want to find out more about what the opportunity might mean to you, what kind of qualities that the prospective hiring manager might be looking for, and to be talking about the relevant skills and qualifications and abilities that you've got. So I urge you to be very, very cautious about giving life stories. I would advise you to answer that question in a warm manner and with a warm tone by saying, what would you like to know? And make sure that you are trying to focus on things which are relevant to the job, avoid giving long answers, and if it is that you are over the age of 35, let me impress upon you the importance of talking about things which have happened in the last 5 years, as opposed to giving details of things which have happened 10 or 15 years ago, and which would be of much less, and in some cases, no significance. So Phil is going to give you an example of another way in which you could answer this question.
I'm 44 years old, married, with 2 children. My main interests outside of work are family, watching and participating in sports, and reading. I studied engineering at college, and for the first 10 years I spent in sales within a manufacturing environment. I then retrained, completing my MBA, and since 2000 I've worked as an interim manager, and I've completed a number of assignments in marketing analysis and planning for some blue chip companies within the telecoms and software industries. I would then rephrase the question back to the interviewer by saying, what more would you like to know about?
And thank you, Phil, that's a very impressive answer.
You're welcome.
So just to summarise and highlight the important things that we've just talked about there, a good way to answer the question, tell me about yourself or talk me through your CV, would be an answer which is succinct, and I therefore urge you to just give maybe 5 sentences about your background, and then to perhaps elaborate on 2 or 3 attributes that you might possess which are recent and relevant to the job. And as Phil illustrated, when you've given your answer, what you should then do is put the question back to the interviewer by saying, what more would they like to know?
So Robert, what happens next?
Phil, as you know, we've been interviewing a number of candidates, and as you appreciate, this is the 3rd and final interview stage. So, so that's where we've sort of got to. Tell me, from your perspective, how serious